Hello everyone. It's been a really long time since I've done one of these from my kitchen, but I was inspired today. So usually I have a full house now, so I don't really have a place to myself. So I wanted to ping on and hang on. I'm gonna add a person because make sure that you're tagged and then I'll re-tag you at the end. There we go. Okay, so basically talking about heart health and grief. So I'm going to combine these because anytime, the interesting thing, I've just been through so much grief myself, especially my sister passing away last year. And then on the same day, my beloved, sweet, adorable cat being killed. That there was a lot going on there. Now with my sister, I had time to grieve, which may sound interesting, but she was in hospice. So many of you know the story that have been here. I had time. We thought we were going to lose her last March, a year ago, this past March, and then she stayed with us till September. So I really believe she stayed around and got all of this, just gifted us so much. But when the day she did pass, then I find out later the same day my cat was killed. So the thing with grief is grief brings in all grief. It really tends to bring up any grief we've experienced in our life. That's the thing about grief is it might not be just the passing of parents or a sibling or, you know, any sort of loved one or an animal a sentient being that we adore. It brings up all forms of grief, which is why it can feel pretty overwhelming. The thing that I have found, like anything, which is the whole premise of the book that I wrote, is allowing yourself to feel the grief as much as you can. Tapping really assists you to allow the grief, to give it full flower, and to not put an expiration date on it. Now, that said, you'll hear about people who, they grieve, hey, Marcia, they grieve, how great, I get to participate today, real time. Yes, that's so awesome. Is sometimes people, it's like they cling to their grief, one, because they don't know better, and two, it's this unconscious way of sort of honoring the person. And I'll tell you a simple story about me. So after my sister died, and then my cat Molly died, and then we got this other cat that we rescued, Gracie, Gracer Racer. She's insane, and we adore her. I've got to get a restraining order because she's so attached, and she's adorable, but she will ping around our house and climb up this wall that's over there and just cling to it and stare at you and jump down. Like, she was the skinniest, scrawniest thing I've ever seen. She still doesn't have her vocal cords back. Like, her meow is like she's hoarse, and I don't think that's coming back. But she's this gorgeous, beautiful, healthy cat now. But for the first probably 7 months we had her, it was rough. And I wouldn't say it was touch and go, but it could have been. And she's blossomed into this amazing creature. But what I noticed is I had this thing with her where I wasn't fully allowing myself to embrace her because I felt like in some way I was being disloyal to my cat, Molly. That's how it showed up for me. I didn't have another sister that passed away, so I could really give full flower to my sister passing. So grief might hang around for something like that where there's loyalty to the person that's passed or the people that have passed. And so we think that's the way we hang on to our love for them. We're not disloyal. And I believe that even though I say this, but it was hard for me to practice it now. I completely, like, Grace is like my being. She's in the office with me all the time. She follows me everywhere. She shows up on these videos all the time. And I think all of a sudden it was like I opened my heart fully to her. I was like, there's nothing to be gained. I had to honor that I was in this space of I need to do this loyalty. But all of a sudden it landed for me, and I was like, Marty, there's nothing to be gained by withholding love of any kind ever. And it landed for me when it landed, and not a moment sooner. I couldn't have forced it, couldn't have pushed myself. So you don't ever want to do that. So that's the grief piece. So really it's about healing the heart and allowing the heart its full expression of grief, sadness, heartbreak, whatever we go through, to give that full flower, meaning let it bloom, let it, to people might say, you got to put an expiration date on it. Well, do you? Now, if you stay hung on to something year after year after year, you want to check that loyalty piece. Like, I'm hanging on to this grief because why? And then you want to work through that. But I'm going to read out of the Healing Questions Guide, Heart Problems, because this was also heart health. It was a request. So these are all the questions for anybody that's new to this. I just read all these questions. You'll know, like, 1, 2 of them, maybe you're like, whoa, that sounds like it. Some of them feel like all of it. Some of them feel like none of it. But you'll know there's 1, 2 maybe that really stand out. So, heart problems. What will it take for me to become aware of and understand the laws of love I have not yet understood? What feelings of compassion am I resisting to feel? What would my life look like if I no longer needed the approval of those who are capable of giving it to me? What is going on in my family that needs healing? What will it take for me to contribute to that healing? Who do I need to forgive? What will it take for me to completely forgive myself? And that's something that I've been working on a lot, especially through the Qigong and other things. Because I personally think that's the person most of us really need to forgive, more than anybody. That's just my belief. What responsibility am I trying to get out of? What do I need to do? That's funny, that one seems sort of out of place here to me. Kind of interesting, but that's just what comes to me. What do I need to do to heal this relationship that hurts so badly? Who am I hoping will rescue me, but they never show up? What will it take? You know, the ones that just land for you? They're just there. What will it take to relieve them of this expectation and rescue myself? So a couple things about some of these. I have an epic rescuer in me. Amazing that I'm in this work, shocker. But I wasn't for a long time. I was in corporate America for 30 plus years. So, but I always felt like a therapist in corporate America. I would go in and with clients as in sales, I would walk in and, like, even my husband's like, what is it? Like, people just freaking open up to you. I don't know, but that's how it was. So that's a bit of a rescue thing where it's like, you know, I'm here for you. I'll do this. So I know that's a big part of who I am. And it's both healthy and unhealthy. So you want to promote the healthy aspects and work towards finding relief from the not so healthy aspects. The not so healthy are, I take care of everyone else and I'm last on my own list. I forgive everyone, but I don't forgive me. And the other piece, so what happens is, the rescue piece too is it's the inner child. So what I realized about that is I rescue because my inner child was not rescued. You know, my child wasn't rescued. I wanted to be rescued, but wasn't. So now I'm learning to love and rescue, more than rescue, support that inner child, to give that part of me the voice, the feelings, the emotions, the experience, to allow the grief to come through. So that's huge. So the other thing about forgiveness is, which I've said many times, we don't want to try to forgive. It sucks to try to forgive. In fact, you can't do it. Because when we're trying to forgive, we're not congruent with forgiveness. So if you could take trying to forgive off the table, like trying to forgive, you might try to forgive for a while and then till you realize that it doesn't work. So there's that piece of it where it's like, oh, I'm trying, but it's not working. And then all of a sudden that helps you wake up to, there's no trying here in the forgiveness arena. You know, I can try to jump over that hurdle. I can try to do this, but forgiveness is something that comes to us as we've allowed ourselves the full expression of all the emotions that we need need in a circumstance where forgiveness has been hard to come by, where we felt wounded or hurt or like they weren't there for us. So that's all heart health, like around heart health. So any of that resonates with you. One thing I will tell you, I've been doing a lot lately, and this is a Qigong thing, but left hand over right for women, right hand over left for men, is putting your hands over your heart. So for women, left hand over right. Men, it's the opposite, right hand over left. So think right side's masculine, left side's feminine. So as a woman, when you put your left hand over your right and hold that to your heart and just send loving kindness to that part of you, notice what comes up. It's a pretty profound experience because you might well up with tears. You might realize, oh my God, it's like the first time I've ever held my own heart and really sent loving kindness to that. It's profound. I mean, I've found it to be quite profound. So that's just a very simple, without having to tap, without having to do anything about it, just putting that energy into that, sending that love and kindness to your own heart, or asking your heart what it needs. What do you need? What do you need to heal? How can I support this? What does my inner child need? What is her heart, his heart? Is it broken, and why? And then tap through those. So let's tap now. I'm going to attempt to combine these, so let's just see what comes. So start on the karate chop. Even though I have heartache, and maybe it shows up in heart problems, heart health, I choose to acknowledge this truth right now. Even though if I really tune into my inner child, my child's heart has been broken over and over again. I choose to honor this truth right now. Even though I might have tried to heal my heart as a child. Maybe I was told things like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity pot. And I learned to believe I don't deserve to have my heart, to heal it, to honor it. I choose to acknowledge these feelings now. My heart health. It might feel a little shaky. And it could feel that way physically, showing up as heart problems. Or I could just have this sense that my heart is filled with grief, that I've never really attended to. To have my own heart, to allow all the grief I need to surface around loved ones that have been lost, lost love to myself. What if it's my heart I need to attend to? Give my heart what it needs. Expression of its truth. I've had a broken heart that I've walked around with for a long time. And what if, as I honor everything I've been through, all the grief, all the ways my heart has been broken, all the ways I learned to break my own heart. What if that can change everything for me? Allow my grief full expression for those I've lost in my life. They might be around me now in a different form, but I still miss their physical presence. And as I open up to allow my truth, I actually get to experience amazing, beautiful grief. Because within that grief is so much love. And as I honor all of this, I'm honoring me and healing my own heart so it can begin anew. Take a breath. Yeah, and I mean, we all know the way through grief, beyond grief is through it. And that's what I noticed with my sister in particular is I felt like because I was in such a different place, having had tapping around for a while, I was expressing to my sisters, I was like, I feel like I've just been left with this amazing, beautiful grief that is very honoring, that's not, it can be overwhelming at moments. It's, because of the love that's been shared, and it's huge. But so hopefully you found that helpful. And Marcia, great to see you here. Ruth, nice to see you. You've been on my mind. I hope all is well. And thank you, ladies, for being here live. Glad it worked out. And then we're on day 2, so I'm catching up. So tomorrow, I'm sure I'll probably do 2 days and then probably catch up again till we're kind of back on page. So have a great rest of your evening, ladies, because you're both in much more evening places than I am right now. And take good care of yourself, and see you back here tomorrow. Bye for now.